The following is a GoPowercat.com production.
Man, it is an exciting time. In my opinion, March Madness has already started, people. The conference tournaments today, basketball going crazy, Big 12, a lot of action going on today. We're going to talk about it here, what has to happen for some teams to get in, what is going to happen within this Big 12 tournament. Whew, I love it. I love it. This is the Big 12 Insiders.
Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show, presented by Synergy Financial Partners. Now let's go to booming North Texas, home of Studio 73. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. We've got Tim Fitzgerald from GoPowercat.com. We've got Chad Brendel covering 24/7, who's covering UC, which would be Cincinnati. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
I'm good.
UConn just blew out Xavier, so my day couldn't have started any better.
There you go. There you go.
You're a simple man, Chad. I love it.
I like the simple things.
Yes.
You know, my thing is, guys, is to me, this is my favorite time of the year. It literally is. March Madness in effect, because to me, I think March Madness has started now. I know everybody talks about the tournament, you know, and don't get me wrong, I love the tournament, but look, you got games all day starting today. It started at 11 o'clock, and they're going to go all day long. It's just wall-to-wall basketball. This is my favorite time of the year.
I said it on Twitter, or X or whatever. I don't call it X because it's too close to whatever, but Twitter. I like today and tomorrow better than the first 2 days of the tournament. I think there's better games. I was
just going to say that.
There's more games. There's better games. You can sit here with the clicker and give yourself carpal tunnel from now until midnight going through games. I love it.
Best invention. YouTube TV came out with the quad view. I've been in my little area. I don't even know if I'm going to see my wife today. I really don't. I'm upstairs. I've got food. I've got a bathroom. I've got a bed if I need it. I'm not going downstairs. So it just is what it is. So quick.
You got a mini fridge up there?
I got a fridge up here. Absolutely.
You're good.
That's what I'm saying.
You're good.
I don't even know if I'm going to see her. I don't even know.
I'll see you Saturday night, a Sunday night, honey.
Absolutely. But
You know
here's
what?
the thing, guys.
She's
My
probably
wife
happy.
actually gets it. She will come up here, watch the games, and not say a word. She'll just come up here and say, I just want to be up here with you. She'll bring the dog and literally won't say anything because she knows if she says anything, I'm going to go berserk. She gets it. Real quick, man, I just want to take care of some business here. Everybody, as always, remember to always like, subscribe, and comment. Set the notification bell. We're Tuesday through Thursday, 1 p.m. Central Time. I appreciate everybody being here. Also, we've got the new channel that we've started, Big 12 Insiders on YouTube. Please go there to subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible, so we appreciate it. So, Chad, let's just get into this, my man. Cincinnati win last night. They beat West Virginia, and in my opinion, that didn't help their resume.
No.
Last night's game, I think, did. Even though Kansas is without their two best players, I don't care. It's still Kansas. I think they helped their resume. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, if they win this game today, don't they have to be in the tournament?
I want to say yes, but I think they probably need one more. They didn't do themselves any favors with their non-conference.
Right.
And then the two marquee games they had, that they lost.
Right.
So they don't have a lot of meat on that non-conference bone. But if you look, I mean, they've got road Q1A wins. They've got home Q1A wins. They get Kansas last night, which the committee is going to look at that and say, obviously, they didn't have McCullough and Dickinson. But if you back that up with Baylor, your case starts to be, you start putting Cincinnati against some of these teams that are on the bubble.
Yep.
I think they're in a lot more interesting place than a lot of the talking heads have them.
Yes. That's my thing. Look, I don't want to downgrade any conference or take away bids from other places, but in a sense, yeah, I do, because I want to see as many Big 12 teams get in as possible. So my thing is, I know the net rankings loves, and I'll just bring this conference up, the Mountain West Conference. They keep talking about 6 teams getting into the Mountain West. Oh, okay, that's fine. But I can guarantee you that half of the teams in that conference that are talking about getting in, you put them in the Big 12, they're not winning 7 games in the Big 12. I don't care what anybody says. Look, you can be as mad at me as you want to. That's fine. That's just not going to happen. So, Fitz, looking at that from the outside looking in, again, a team like Cincinnati, they get this win today. I think they have to be in because they'll have a better resume than somebody else like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. I mean, these 2 night quarterfinal games could put 2 more Big 12 teams literally on the brink of being in the field. And I don't know, at that point, they might actually be competing against each other. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure how the committee views this. Honestly, from looking at the teams that are in the field, according to the experts, Joe Lunardi and company, I don't understand why K-State and Cincinnati wouldn't obviously be in the field with wins tonight. I can almost see making an argument they should be in the field compared to what is probably in the field. But that's not how it works right now. And of course, we won't know really what's going on until the committee says something, which will be on Sunday evening.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it. Like I said, it's just I look at how difficult this conference was. There was literally no nights off, and there might have been a night where you got away from somebody, but that's because you played really good basketball to get away from somebody. It wasn't just because this team was just god awful and you blew them out. There were no gimmies in this league this year. So to be able to get the number of wins that they got, both Kansas State and Cincinnati, I just think, at some point, don't we have to reward that? If the conference is the best conference in the country and they're going out there and they're winning these games, look, end of the year has to matter. Otherwise, we need to do away with conference tournaments. If they're going to say, well, it's the tournament, hey, these games matter. Because if they don't matter, there's no reason to play them. I go, so if you win in the conference tournament, that has to continue to add to your resume, doesn't it, Chad? Because I just think if you don't, then other than money, obviously, but what's the purpose?
Right. And I think the thing with Cincinnati, if you dig a little deeper, they lost to Houston by 5.
Yes.
They had Baylor on the ropes, down 1 with the ball, 13 seconds left in Waco.
Right.
I mean, outside of a bad night against TCU where the final 10 minutes got away from them, they didn't play, they didn't lose the game out more than 9 points. And that was Iowa State. Everything else was within 5.
Yeah.
In a league that's as tough as this one, they brought it every night and they were competitive and, playing teams down to the wire every night. Now, did they need to win more of those? Yeah. I mean, if you don't choke away a 10-point lead against West Virginia in the final 4 minutes,
right,
you're probably in. If you don't, I mean, let's face it, what happened with Oklahoma State, they had just come off a long stretch of really difficult games. And human nature is to go, okay, we're playing the last place team in the conference. We don't have to have our foot on the gas and we should still be able to win this game.
Right.
Oklahoma State had talent.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And they slipped up. Now you win Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and West Virginia, you're in the field now. It's not even close for Cincinnati. So they kind of did it to themselves. But I mean, night in and night out, it is really, really difficult to be as competitive as Cincinnati was at home, on the road. They lost by 5 at Kansas with a fully stocked Kansas roster. I mean, I don't know. I look at this team and I see a tournament team, but I see a team that probably let 1 or 2 games get away from them that they shouldn't have. That if they don't continue this run is probably going to leave them on the outside looking in. That's unfortunate, but that's what happens when you're in the best league in America.
Yes.
You have 1 or 2 nights that are going to determine, are you a protected seed or are you a 7 seed? Are you in the tournament or are you on the bubble? Like that's what this league is all about. And I think ultimately, no matter how this plays out, this Cincinnati roster has shown ready for this league. This Cincinnati coach has shown ready for this league as they settle in for the long haul.
Absolutely. I think they showed themselves very, very well. And again, they have a real shot to win this game tonight. And I think if the tournament committee is worth its salt, a team like Cincinnati, they win this game. I think they got to be in. So,
Brian, how about this?
Yeah.
Brian, real quick. How about this? First game against Baylor, they did not have Aziz Bandago, who is an absolute game changer defensively at the rim.
Yep.
They were down 1 with 13 seconds left in the ball. They got a great inbounds play, and Dan Skillings missed a layup at the rim to take the lead with 9 seconds left in that game. They shot 37% from the floor.
Whew.
They shot 17% from 3.
Whew.
And they shot 53% from the free throw line in that game. And it was a 1-point game at the Horn.
Unbelievable.
Go play well, and you can beat this Baylor team if you're Cincinnati.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, that's kind of what gives me some thoughts on them being able to win this game, because I just think Cincinnati, again, I know we talked about their record and some of the games that maybe got away from them. I think they're a little bit better than what their record showed. Again, adjusting to the league, it's tough. It's tough. We've talked about it before, Chad. It's just adjusting the night in, night out versus where they were coming from. Hey, they had some easy wins. There just weren't any easy wins in this league this year. So with Fitz, switching over and talking a little bit of KState, I believe, is in the same boat. Yeah. If KState wins this game tonight against Iowa State, they would have ended the season, Iowa State win, Texas win, Iowa State win. At that point, I don't know how you get left out of the tournament. I mean,
I agree.
If the committee's not even trying at that point to put in 10 teams or the most deserving teams at this point, if they're going to leave a Kansas State team out, would you say so?
Yeah, I don't understand the bracketology at all. I mean, K-State had a really nice win over a team that's solidly been in the tournament for a very long time, according to the bracketologist. And guys like Joe Lenardi, okay, now you're not the third team in the next 4 out. You're the second.
Yeah.
You move up one spot for that? Well, teams are moving up into the bracket because they lost games. Like, I want Indiana State in the bracket as much as anyone because I profess my love for Larry Nerd, but it's hard to believe that the committee, if they're valuing teams head to head, how would this turn out, that they would pick Indiana State over Kansas State or Cincinnati? But that's where we're at. I'm being very cautious here because I don't trust the bracketologists, because I think they all peek over each other's shoulder and you get some incestuous thoughts there about how every team looks. They just kind of cross-pollinated all of their thoughts together, and maybe they're wrong. I mean, again, we don't know exactly the criteria that the committee will use. And as I've always said, if you really want to know what's going on, wait until the games are done on Sunday afternoon and Joe Lenardi changes his bracket. Then you know what's really going on, because he got those insider tips.
Absolutely. I was literally just going to say that. He puts it out, and it happens every year, and then he goes on and he brags that he got all of them but one right and all the seedings right. I'm like, come on, man. You couldn't do that if you paid somebody on the committee to give you all of that. So let's pump the brakes a little bit there. But even having said that, now follow me with this, gentlemen. Here's my thinking. The brackets and the selection committee in this seem to lean more towards mid-major teams and putting more mid-major teams in than what they do in college football. Somebody texted me last night and we're trying to compare the two. And I said, look, it's totally different with football and basketball. I'm like, football is a different beast. I go, you've got to have big guys. You got to have those things to compete. I go, if you don't have that, you're going to get beat up on a football field. Basketball's not the same way. So while I'm sitting here beating my chest about the Big 12, it doesn't necessarily mean that other teams can't compete. So do we think that not giving those teams the opportunity is the right thing for a Big 12 team that we think is better? Or should we give those guys, and I'll just start with you, Chad, do you think it's fair to give those teams a chance?
I used to, but Cincinnati's in the Big 12 now, so no, keep them out.
There you go. I like it. Yes.
It's true, man.
Why are there not more American Athletic Conference teams in the tournament? Now? I don't care.
There you go.
You should have gotten to a better league. You should have gotten to a better league. No, I mean, look, Cinderella is always going to be a major part of this thing.
Right.
But here's an interesting question. Who's the last at-large Cinderella to really go on a run? Cinderella is usually a conference champion.
Yeah.
That comes from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
We don't see Cinderella from a 9 seed from the Mountain West very often. I mean, it's just not something that happens. I don't know. There's something to be said, and there are teams. Gonzaga figured it out, right? Like we're in a bad league. We're gonna go play 10 games against the best teams in the country in the non-conference, because that essentially is their conference schedule.
Correct.
Right.
Not bye games, home and home, neutral site, whatever. Like they figured out the equation. Too many of these lower conference teams just don't have enough data points for us to know, like, are they really what they've done in their conference? Are they really what they say they are? So I think that makes it tough. But make no mistake, like it's trending back towards the power teams because
absolutely.
And you know exactly why, because the Big Ten and the SEC have decreed we want more, and they are going to get what they want. That's why Brent Yormark had his salvo the other night. We're the best basketball league. We should have a say.
Correct.
On how many teams are in this tournament and how many we get in, because we're better than these two when it comes to basketball. So we're the big dog. You got to listen to us. Now the Big Ten and SEC probably had a good chuckle at that, but it is what it is. So the key thing, look at the committee, see where the committee members are from,
right?
See what their connections are, and then you can get an idea on what league might get an extra bid, what team might get in, what team might get out. And everybody says, well, they make them leave the room. Yeah, that's the sign. That's the signal. I'm getting up now, and I'm going to leave the room. You guys do what you will, and just let me know when I come back how it turned out. Come on.
Yeah, that's basically exactly how it happens. I'm leaving the room. You know what to do. Go ahead and get this done. Let me know when it's time to come back in. I like that. I like that. Well, we're going to park a quick break right here, and then we'll come back on the second half of this, and we will talk about how both Kansas State and UC can try to win these games today. But one word first from our sponsor with Synergy Financial Partners.
At Synergy Financial Partners, the mission is to change the way Americans plan for their financial future. Synergy doesn't just offer you a financial plan. At Synergy, the goal is to help you find your best financial future. Learn more at synergyfinancial.com.
Welcome back to the show. Let's head back to the studio.
All right, welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. Again, this is Brien Hanley with Tim Fitzgerald and Chad Brendel. So, Fitz, let's talk KState. Big win last night. Great second half last night. They played some of the best basketball that I think I've seen them play all year in the second half after a lackluster first half. How do they win this game against a very, very good Iowa State team tonight?
A team you just beat 5 days ago that remembers you beat them 5 days ago. So it adds another layer of difficulty. And, Iowa State and Kansas City is some type of magical combination that turns them into the greatest team ever assembled. Seems to happen almost every year. They just have to worry about themselves and replicate the things they did in the second half. I haven't seen them play that well. Chad said earlier that Cincinnati looks like a NCAA tournament team. Well, I would say that up until the second half of last night, I didn't think K-State looked like one. I didn't care what their resume said. I just wasn't convinced they had that kind of consistency and cohesiveness in the attempts of what they're doing to be in the tournament. Last night, that changed for me. They look like a damn good basketball team in the second half. Amazing what happens when you don't turn the ball over 15, 16, 18 times a game. You do it 2 times and a half, you shoot 55%, and all of a sudden you look like a really good team. but it wasn't just fortune, and it just wasn't, Texas letting up. K-State just seemed to finally lock in on what it needs to do. So I can see them earning their way in against Iowa State. Iowa State's going to put up a fight, but again, if you play Iowa State, you got to match their physicality, their energy, and you got to beat them to those 50-50 balls. You got to make them at least 60-40, if not 70-30 in your favor. And that's how you beat them. And also, keep them out of transition, because they're not a good shooting team. So they use transition to get buckets. You can't let them do that.
Right.
Have they played twice already, or was that the first time?
No, this is they won on each other's home floor. Iowa State won. Remember the great videoing the huddle controversy in names?
Oh yeah.
Yep. And then K-State won at home. So this is
I'm interested in your opinion on this.
What's that?
Is there a significant difference playing Iowa State the second time because you are used to their pressure? They bring it from so many different weird places. They jump you, they surprise you, they put your ball handlers on skates the first time. And then it seems like teams that have played them that second time aren't as overwhelmed by it.
It's valid.
And that's what it looked like in that game Saturday. I was on the road. My daughter was at a volleyball tournament, so I was in a hotel room, and I had the UC West Virginia game on the laptop, and I had the Kansas State Iowa State game on the TV, and it felt like Iowa State didn't score for 30 minutes real time. They had 24 points. Yeah. I kept looking at the screen, and they still had 24. And then it went to halftime, and they came back, and I kept looking at the screen. They still had 24. I mean, but that's how they generate offense for Iowa State. That's not a good offensive team per se.
No.
They turn you over. They get easy transition buckets, and they keep you at bay that way. Kansas State did a great job taking away the things that make Iowa State really good in that game Saturday. I think there is something to the second time you play them. It's not a surprise anymore.
Well, and plus, if you're Jerome Tang and you have to go, just as Cincinnati's doing here, you come off playing a game on Wednesday, and now you have to play on Thursday against a team who hasn't taken the court yet. It helps you that you just did the scout 5 days ago. The players still have that in their minds. Now you're going to do some different stuff because Iowa State's coaches are really good, and they'll acclimate, they'll adjust. But having those kind of basic core things you got to do with the hustle and the rebounding and beating them to those loose balls and stopping them from transition, that sticks with you. You just saw it, you just applied it, you just did it, and maybe that'll be the K-State's advantage.
Limiting the live ball turnovers has been challenging for K-State this year. Last two games, they've done that, and they've been able to win. So if they can do it again against Iowa State, they've got a real chance. I think they got to shoot the ball a little bit better, but if they limit those live ball turnovers, they've got a real shot here. Flipping it over to UC, Chad, what do you see as some of the things? Because Baylor's good. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Baylor's really good. They're not the greatest defensive team. I'll put that out there. They're not the greatest defensive team, but they can shoot the basketball. You know, they can really shoot it, and if they get hot, it becomes difficult. But I think that Cincinnati is the more physical of the teams and definitely the better defensive squad of the teams. What are some of the things that you see they need to do to be able to win this game?
You have to make them uncomfortable at the three-point line. They are not a team that's going to get, generally, unless it's in transition, they're not going to pile up 35, 40, 45 paint points.
No.
They're going to try to beat you from the perimeter. If you can run them off the line and you can keep their shooters at least in check to where they're not, that's the worst thing that can happen with Baylor is you let those guys get comfortable and you let them, even if it's just one or two rhythm looks and they bang them, now they're shooting contested ones with a hand in their face. They don't need much space. It doesn't matter what your closeout looks like. You have to stay very specific in your detail in the scouting report and who is marked, who you're tagging, who you don't come off of, because a lot of times with Baylor, you'll see a defender just takes one step. Guys driving, defender takes one step, and That's all they need on a kick out, catch and shoot three is that 1
Right.
second of airspace.
Yep.
So if you're tagging Jacoby Walter, you can't give him that one step where you're stepping in to help. You have to make sure you are in his airspace on the catch and that he does not get eyes on the basket and the ball in the pocket. Because if he does, it's going in.
Yeah.
And Ray J. Dennis is like, I mean, they just have 3, 4, 5 guys like Drew always does that you can't let heat up. And I think for me, that's the, because Cincinnati was, let's be honest, they were dreadful defensively against West Virginia.
Right.
Dreadful.
Right.
They looked good against Kansas yesterday, but that was a Kansas team, if we're being honest. There were 3 guys on the court at all times that you could just say, would you please shoot the 3, sir? We're not going to guard you at all. We're going to let you step into rhythm threes all day. And I think they were 3 for 20 something. Yeah. I mean, so you don't have that option. Everything last night was, we can't let Johnny Furphy and KJ Adams beat us.
Right.
And they did a great job on Furphy. Adams got going, but it wasn't enough. Baylor is an entirely different animal. But like you said, Cincinnati's struggles are offense related.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, you don't get many chances to play a defense outside the top 50 in this league. And I think Baylor's 77.
Yes. Yes.
So you're going to have a chance to run your stuff. You're going to get good action. You're going to get good looks if you stay, thorough. Like what was annoying me a little bit last night, and I think it was because they saw, like, we have a lot of individual matchups with this depleted Kansas team, so we're going to play a lot in isolation. But they would have good action on the front side of the play.
Correct.
And Jizzle James or Day Thomas or Dan Skillings would deny the action, refuse the ball screen and go the other way. And it's like, well, if you just looked at the action over here, you had one guy coming open, one guy rolling to the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had 3 options, and instead you took it one-on-one and kind of forced to play a little bit. And as long as they stay away from that was probably the most stagnant I've seen the Cincinnati offense all year. And I do think there was some of the scouting report that said, see this guy, go put a bucket on this guy.
Got it.
And it eventually paid off, but it made things a little tense. It got to 3 early in the second half where you're like, here we go. You can't fall in that rut against Baylor where you're trying to play one-on-one offensively. If you run your stuff, I think Cincinnati's offensively going to have a chance to be at least efficient.
Oh, we may have lost him. But I think – oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm here. No, I was done. I'm here.
Okay.
Like I said, this storm is going on outside. There's been 3 rumbles of thunder.
You are fine.
That have shook the house.
So
the dogs are at my feet, panting. Gonna be okay.
I understand. So one other question, I can't let you guys get out of here without asking. So let's see. They both win. Let's just say Kansas State and Cincinnati pull off the upsets today. That means they're going to meet in the semis. Any chance that is actually for a bid in the tournament? Or have they done enough and it won't matter? I mean, would the selection committee say, you know what, if whoever wins this game, we're going to make them the 10th person from the conference? Or will both of them had done enough? Fitz, what do you think?
Again, you don't know what the committee's thinking. You don't know how they value the Indiana States and the Villanovas and some of the other schools on the board. But I think the reality is KState and Cincinnati, if they accomplish almost identical things here and the spots are limited, whoever wins that semifinal, if it would happen, would be at a huge advantage. But I think at this point, if they both win, I don't see how they're not in the field. And I would see that game then deciding who doesn't go to Dayton and who does go to Dayton. But other than that, I think if either one wins tonight, they should be in. And it's silly that we're even having the discussion, looking at the quad 1 wins, the strength of schedule, all those things that are supposed to be important. Both teams score pretty well.
Yeah.
I think if you're Cincinnati, you're rooting for Iowa State, and if you're Kansas State, you're rooting for Baylor.
Well,
because that just gives you another one more opportunity to go get a Q1A top 10 net
neutral site.
Neutral, like Cincinnati and Kansas State. I think it would make it too easy for the committee to just kind of say, they're playing each other. Because Tim, you guys know how this process works. Like, they are scrubbing the field right now. They started meeting yesterday.
Absolutely.
They are scrubbing the field right now. That will be done by tomorrow morning.
Yep.
And generally, once you get there, they don't like to go back unless it's a bid stealer. They don't like to have to go back and change their work. So I hope tonight is enough. I would love to see both win and both get in. I'm a Jerome Tang guy. I know he was very interested in the Cincinnati job when Wes Miller got it. And to the point where I was researching him and kind of getting the lay of the land on him. And I like the way he runs the program. I like their style. So I would like to see Kansas State get in, but I hope a win tonight for both is good enough. I'm not sure I trust the committee to do the right thing on that front and put them both in.
Right.
Even if they both get Q1A wins tonight.
Correct. Yeah, I 100% agree with both of you on that aspect. So we are going to take one last break here, and then we will shut down the show. I appreciate both of you guys giving us your time and coming on. I know we're busy. I mean, the Big 12 tournament, we're all busy. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to meet with us today. We'll take one final break from our partners at Synergy Financial Group.
At Synergy Financial Partners, the vision is to build the world's largest consumer financial education and empowerment company. Synergy doesn't just offer you a financial plan. At Synergy, the goal is to help you find your best financial future. Learn more at synergyfinancial.com.
Welcome back to the show. Let's head back to the studio.
So I'd like and thank both of those guys for giving us the time today. Cincinnati, KState, I got to believe that they're in. Don't you guys? You win this game today against these two opponents, Baylor and Iowa State. I think they both will have done enough. The committee just has to bite the bullet and just say, yes, this conference, as good as it is, they deserve 11 teams in this thing. Now, that seems a little far-fetched, but if you really sit back and you think about it, some of these teams that they're talking about putting in, they're not going to win 7-8 games in a conference if they had to go through a conference season. I think that's the only way that you can do this thing. So, but it's a great time of the year. Big 12 conference underway. The tournament is underway. I love it. Thank you guys again for joining us. We will be back tomorrow to do it better. Have a good one.
This has been a GoPowercat.com and Spirit Street production. Please support this show by subscribing to this YouTube channel or follow us on your favorite podcast platform.